what is going on? I feel like that's what people across, what is going on here? Just really, what is going on between CQ Brown, and I'm just going to say it, was CQ, we need to ask the question, was CQ Brown fired because he was Black? Because it's not that he's unqualified, right? It's not that he was confirmed by the Senate. And then when it comes to Ukraine, I just like, is Ronald Reagan rolling over in his grave right now? Where are the real Republicans in America? Where are the people that care about democracy? I am just, Rick Steele, I'm very confused and concerned.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, the firings are continuing in this new administration. Just over a month in office, and Donald Trump continues to trim the fat of government along with the help of Doge. But it seems like, y'all, the blackity blacks want to cut up. They want to continue to take it further and further. At some point, they're going to fall off the cliff. Putting themselves out there like that for this Democrat Party, who don't mean them no good anyway, but here we are. Donald Trump has the executive branch. Republicans have the legislative branch. So you see the Democrats running to the courts, to the judicial branch to try to save them from their impending doom. All they can do is slow it down. They're not going to stop it. And we're finding that out in the fact that Donald Trump gets to fire who he wants to fire. And even though the courts have come out and said, oh, you can't touch these people, and oh, these employees are protected, no, we're finding out that's not true. Yeah, you're going to gum up the works a little bit, but over time, once it's appealed, upon appellate review, you're going to find out that the president has a lot of latitude to hire and fire whom he wishes. So here we have the story, y'all, of General CQ Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And people on the left are trying to say, oh, Donald Trump fired him because he was Black. Oh, this Black man in this historic position as the head of the Joint Chiefs, and you're going to fire him? As if he was not fireable because he's part of some protected class? No, y'all. Pete Hegseth told you we're getting back to a warrior class. We're getting the military back on its right footing. Ain't got nothing to do with Black. But it might have something to do with left. And unfortunately, y'all blackity blacks, hear me close. Unfortunately, over time, y'all have allowed the left, those crazy purple-haired liberals over there, y'all have allowed them to thrust you to the front, such that your Blackness represents their ideology. And you let it happen, and you're still letting it happen because you keep voting for it. But here we are. And now you want to say, since you can't stop it in the court, now you want to cry racism. You can't fire the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. He's a blackity black. Racism. Well, I seem to remember, y'all. And I know some of y'all who watch me are so young, I've seen the demographics. Y'all don't remember that 4-star general who was himself a blackity black. Read his memoir. You'll see how Black he was then promoted to the Secretary of State of this great country. The first and only Black Secretary of State that you ever had. And them lefties over there, the blackity blacks who represent the left-wing ideology, they hated that man. They couldn't stand him. You know what that tells me? It ain't about Black at all. Y'all trying to put it out there, but we see through your game. It's not about Black at all. It's about Black representing the left. And y'all beholden to that plantation at some point. We're going to pull you up off of there, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take some work. But we committed to helping you get right. No matter how long it takes for you to become self-aware and understand that those pink and blue and purple hair lefties over there don't mean you're no good. But you know who's self-aware? Donald Trump. Trump 47 is much more aware of himself and his position than he was at 45. And you know the one thing he understands, which all blackity blacks, the same ones who hate him today used to love him back in the day. That's right. Used to come to him for campaign donations, used to come to him for startup funds and business ventures. Always wanted to take pictures with him, wanted to give him all your blackity black awards. Make him feel like he could come to the cookout. You know how y'all like to do. Those are the same ones who hate him today, so don't blame him for feeling some kind of way. And don't blame him for seeing through your blackness when you use it as a shield to hide your DEI ideologies.
Commander of Pacific Air Forces, a senior leader in our Air Force, and an African American. Many of you may be wondering what I'm thinking about the current events surrounding the tragic death of George Floyd. I'm thinking about how full I am with emotion, not just for George Floyd, but the many African Americans that have suffered the same fate as George Floyd. I'm thinking about a history of racial issues and my own experiences that didn't always sing of liberty and equality. I'm thinking about my Air Force career, where I was often the only African American in my squadron, or as a senior officer, the only African American in the room. I'm thinking about the pressure I felt to perform error-free, especially for supervisors I perceived had expected less from me as an African American. I'm thinking about having to represent by working twice as hard to prove their expectations and perceptions of African Americans were invalid. I'm thinking about the airmen who don't have a life similar to mine and don't have to navigate through two worlds. I'm thinking about how these airmen view racism, whether they don't see it as a problem since it doesn't happen to them, or whether they're empathetic. I'm thinking about our two sons. Now we had to prepare them to live in two worlds. Finally, I'm thinking about my historic nomination to be the first African American to serve as the Air Force Chief of Staff. I'm thinking about the African Americans that went before me to make this opportunity possible. I'm thinking about the immense expectations that come with this historic nomination, particularly through the lens of current events plaguing our nation. I'm thinking about how I may have fallen short in my career and will likely continue falling short living up to all those expectations. I'm thinking about how my nomination provides some hope, but also comes with a heavy burden. That's what I'm thinking about. I want to know what you're thinking about. I want to hear what you're thinking about and how together we can make it.
Good morning, General. General, do we have too many white officers in the Air Force?
Senator, what I really look at is the quality of all the officers that we have, and we look at the aspect of everyone who's qualified, meets the qualifications, is promoted. And
Well, I would agree with you, but that answer is not consistent with your August 9th memo. In your August 9th memo, you said that you signed on to that there should be a reduction essentially of about 9% of the white officers. That's 5,400. We have 5,400, too many white officers. And this is the real impact, I think, of this desire of the administration. I'm saddened to see this in this memo, of this obsession with sort of race-based politics being interjected into our military. How did you come up with the percentage of 67.5% of the officers should be white? And how did you come up with 13% should be black? And how did you come up with 10% should be Asian? And how did you come up with 1.5% should be American Indian and Native Alaskan? How did you come up with 1% being Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander? And how did you come up with 15% of our officers should be Hispanic or Latino?
Senator, that is based on that memo is on application goals, not the actual makeup of the force. And those numbers are based on the demographics of the nation.
Okay, well, all right. There's 10% of our country is Asian American. So is that where you came up with it? Just a percentage of the population?
Essentially.
Because right now the actual percentage, I mean, this is where this is a ridiculous conversation, to be perfectly honest, because why didn't you come up with, or are you going to come up with the percentage of the overall force? Did you contemplate that? Of how many, Black Americans should be in the Air Force? Or how many Asian Americans should be in the Air Force? Did you contemplate the total force percentages?
Senator, what we looked at was the aspect of providing opportunities for anybody who wants to serve this cause.
Listen, if that were the case, if that were what was in this memo, I wouldn't be asking you these questions. But we have in a memo signed by you that you think right now there are too many white officers, and this is a blanket statement.
So you see the history of this man right there on display for you? So you ain't got to fall for what all of these pundits are out here trying to sell you. The proof is right there. The receipts are right there. This man advocated for reducing the military enlistees based on race. And boy, did that thing boomerang to hit him upside the head. And now they're trying to say, oh, well, this thing that you once advocated for is what's being applied to you. Nah, I don't think so. But even if it was, that way you feel, when that kind of energy comes back at you, you should consider other people and how they might feel. And you say, oh, well, the history of the country, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. You're not denying history, but we're not trying to repeat it either. We're trying to learn from it. We're trying to build on it. And we're trying to make everyone better, everyone that is a proud citizen of this country. Now, that may not be you. You may not be proud. You may fall into that bucket that wants to cry over everything that happens to you and blame your skin color for everything that happens to you in life. But you're going to live a sad life. I hope that you come to your senses. I hope you come around and see things for what they are. The man was fired not for his skin color. The man was fired because his ideologies and his wokeness did not align with the new administration. Y'all, it happens every time the pendulum swings. This is not new. Stop falling for the okie doke that these pundits are trying to sell you. Because what you're going to find out if you look beneath the surface is that some of these people are paid to sell you certain messages. So they're going to continue to sell them because that's how they eat.
Is that the Trump Pentagon does not welcome Black people. They're discouraging Black people from joining. There's no home for women. We know also the CNO of the Navy, the Chief Naval Operations Officer, who's a woman, was also fired tonight. The commander of the
The Air Force Vice Chief, we actually have the list up there. The Air Force Vice Chief was fired, the Lieutenant General was also fired, and then 3 JAGs were also fired.
Yes, so there was a purge of the lawyers, the senior lawyers, and the message there is that there's no rule of law left. It's a lawless purge. They removed the lawyers, and you have lawyers at every level of command. And it's a terrible message to send out tonight. And also, it's in the military, what we know is that we come from all different walks of life. We're different races. We have different economic backgrounds or different genders, and that there's no place for disrespect or a lack of respect for the dignity of soldiers.
One of the things to remember about CQ Brown, he was put in his previous position by Donald Trump, and Trump praised him when he did that. He actually was on duty today, as he always is. He was down at the border with our troops down there when this firing order came down. How can we look at this and not see this as just simply Pete Hegseth has decided that he is a symbol of DEI, and that's why he was fired?
I don't want to say it's a symbol of DEI. I mean, this is maybe surprising. No, we've been seeing about this. Secretary Hegseth was talking about how he needed to go. But look at what Hegseth is talking about as the Pentagon as a whole. He is looking to completely restructure the approach that the previous administration had.
That's
so he's
not
going to be
why
replacing a lot
Hegseth
of people.
That's not why Hegseth said he should be fired. He said he should be fired because he was, in his words, involved in DEI. CQ Brown, as far as we know, there's been no indication that he's been fired for cause, that he did anything wrong, that he has some philosophical approach to war fighting that is different from the president's.
And there you have it, y'all. General CQ Brown, no longer the chair of the Joint Chiefs. He has been fired because he wasn't smart enough like old lipstick Millie. Millie saw the writing on the wall. He said, Trump coming in here, he done roasted me on social media so many times. There's no way he's going to let me stick around. So when Trump won the election, Millie said, I'm out, I'm retiring. CQ Brown thought he was slick enough. Thought his melanin would save him. Oh, he not gonna fire me. I'm a blackity black. You know how that would make him look? You know how the pundits would rise up and come to my defense as the poor little black man? Told y'all, Colin Powell was a black man. They ran him off the rails every time they got a chance in the media. Roasted Colin Powell. No, it's not about black. It's about your ideology. It's about who you like. Because you can like one black and hate another. What makes you do that? I think you need to look in the mirror and ask yourself, why do you do that? Because it ain't about color at all. It's about their political positions, and you are beholden to one. The sooner you come to that realization, the better off we will all be as we banter back and forth moving forward under this new administration. Y'all tell me in the comments what you think about this, because I'd love to know your thoughts. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.